Hey, how's it going? I thought today we'd go on a nice little Sunday drive as we dive a little deeper into the Doomsday Iceberg. I hope you brought some snacks and a drink, because we aren't stopping until we get where we're going. Just like last time, if you get freaked out by the idea of the world ending, I'd suggest maybe watching something else, and if there's a specific topic you all want to know more about, let me know and I can go more in depth with it in a separate video. And just so you know, there are some topics here that I either couldn't find a whole lot of information on, or I just didn't understand what I found. So bear with me on those. And with all of that said, thank you for joining me on this relaxing drive, where we talk about different ways the world can end. So, I don't know if you've heard of gamma ray bursts, but they're the biggest explosions that can happen in the universe. So they're kind of a big deal. And if one were to happen here, it would break oxygen molecules and form an ozone layer near the ground. There were a bunch of sciencey terms in the articles I read about this, but the general idea I got from this is it would either cause us all to burn alive, or it would suffocate us. I'm not really sure which, but one of the two would happen. There's a lot of evidence pointing to this happening, being scientists think a gamma ray burst is what caused the Ordovician extinction around 450 million years ago, which killed a bunch of marine life. So yay, we're starting off with suffocating because of space. It's only going to get better, guys. This is going to be a great time. Now, societal collapse is a weird one to talk about because there isn't too much to say aside from like the definition, giving a few historical examples, and some speculation on if it were to happen. According to the dictionary, societal collapse is the fall of a complex human society characterized by the loss of cultural identity and of social economical complexity, the downfall of government, and the rise of violence. And it can be caused by a number of things, including war, pestilence, famine, depopulation. A few historical examples for you are the Roman Empire, the Hittites, the Han and Tang dynasties of China, and the Anasazi tribe. While as a whole this probably wouldn't end life as we know it, it would have drastic impacts on the world. I think the fall of the Soviet Union is the best example of it happening in modern times. Yeah, Eastern Europe is still here after the fact, but you can't really say that they're doing good. They're a little weird out there, if you know what I mean. But societal collapse does roll well into the next possibility, which is terrorist. It doesn't say anything else. It just says terrorist, which should actually just be a subline of collapse, because let's say those crazy religious dudes in the Middle East took over the West. I think there'd be some serious clashes on how to live life, and that would result in societal collapse. And the final idea that feeds into this is financial collapse, which the easiest way I can explain that is, think that episode of Rick and Morty where Rick makes the Federation's dollar worth nothing and everyone just starts taking each other's pants. So hoard the pants if you know what's good for you, because once the dollar becomes zero, that's all that we're gonna have. Okay, now for something that's finally interesting. Singularity. To put simply, singularity is a theory that we will advance technology to a point of no return and eventually lose control of it. Depending on who you ask, we may or may not have already hit it, or we're extremely close to singularity. Based on our overdependence of technology as it is, and crazy advancements over the last few years, think like Elon Musk's brain chip that's about to go into trial phase, or Facebook and Google both made AIs that develop their own languages. Now, the kind of good thing is, singularity could be good or it could be bad. It all depends on how you look at it. Because on the lighter side of things, we could be living in a world like Futurama, where we all could have our own best friend Bender. And on the darker side of things, Skynet will go live, we'll be killed by Terminators, and it'll all just be a bad time. So maybe we should cut back on the tech stuff. But don't start that until after you finish this video. Please. But keeping with the tech-based theories, there's also a chance that our simulation gets turned off. And this builds off the theory that we're all an advanced simulation ran by some higher being. Think kind of like The Sims, like that's all we are, except the kid that's playing isn't a sadistic prick who takes ladders out of pools. And just like with Singularity, Elon Musk believes there's a very strong chance that we're in a simulation. Look at that, he's just leading all the tech theories. And his big citing for it is video games. As proof, he's claiming it's ridiculous how within 40 years we were able to advance from, Pong, which was 2 lines and a dot, to games that look like Cyberpunk, The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and Halo Infinite. God, I can't wait to see cracking 60 FPS. So the main idea behind this is the kid that's playing The Sims with us, he's just gonna get bored and delete the file. But hey, I mean, we're doing so much wacky shit around here, I don't think anyone's gonna shut us off anytime soon. So we ain't got much to worry about. A biotech disaster is kind of hard to explain, but to try to put it simply, biotech is technology based on biology. I know, shocker, right? And it can actually be used for several good things, such as improving medicine, it can cut down on fossil fuel use, and we can use it to improve our agriculture. With a lot of the concerns for the technology are stemming from us not really knowing the full long-term effects of it because it's a relatively new thing. And if it gets out into the wild, either by researchers doing their thing or a group weaponizing it and making it an extremely effective and deadly disease-based bioweapon. Think Aum Shinriko's sarin gas attacks or the Rajneeshi salmonella poisoning, but 10 times worse. That's the big concern with it is it'll either think that Vault from Fallout New Vegas where everyone got turned into plant monsters, or super terrorist bioweapon. Those are the two extremes of biotech. But we're gonna move away from the realism of actual technology that we have killing us, and we're gonna go to the more old religion stuff, because there's also a chance of the Rapture happening. This one is actually something I like, mostly because one of my favorite episodes of American Dad uses it as a major plot point. And I really wish Ricky the Raptor wasn't copyrighted, because he can explain this way better than I can. But if you don't know, to put it very simply, according to Christianity, the Rapture is the beginning of the end times, starting with all the good Christians floating up to heaven. Who determines who the good Christians are? I don't really know. Let's go with the monks with the funny haircuts. Yeah, they decide. After that, a lot of people are gonna die. Jesus and the devil are supposed to come to Earth and fight with armies of angels and demons for like 7 years. More people are gonna die, and then the survivors are supposed to rebuild the world with peace and faith in Christ being the focal points. Now, I know that all sounds really bad and really scary, but there's a few things to take note here in case you're worried about the Rapture. One, a lot of people have predicted this, and I mean a lot, with the last one to gain any real traction being Harold Camping back in 2011. Internet Historian has a great video going into more detail on that if you're interested. 2, the Bible clearly states no one will know the day or hour of the Rapture. Only God knows. And 3, just about every major denomination of Christianity considers predicting the Rapture a sin. So even they won't say when it'll happen. And probably the best thing to come of this, you can get Rapture insurance for your pets. In case you're somehow lucky enough to get zapped into heaven, one of us godless heathens will take care of Fido for you. So there's that upside. So if you see some whack job claiming the end is nigh while shouting Bible quotes, just remember these facts. Because we're probably all going to get left behind, let's be honest here. So I don't really know a whole lot about Flood-Basalt. It was really hard to find information on this. But it's my understanding they happen when there are giant volcanic eruptions or several eruptions covering the land or seafloor with basalt lava, which is just lava on the surface of the ground that's been like hardened into rock. This actually feeds into the idea of supervolcanoes from the last video, because obviously when a volcano erupts, lava comes flowing out. It would essentially expand through the world, engulfing everything in fire and liquid hot magma, making the place looking like Mustafar. And there's actually some validity to this, as researchers believe that 3 of the 5 mass extinctions that have happened throughout Earth's history were because of volcanic eruptions and the following flood basalts. Yeah, that's comforting. And the last thing that I've got to talk about today is the possibility of a man-made black hole, which is actually a relatively new idea in terms of everything on this berg, because the fears of this actually happening didn't become a reality until around 2008. Back then, when we first started toying with particle accelerators and hadron colliders, which is just this big tunnel thing underground out in Europe, where they throw atoms at each other at Mach Jesus speeds. It was believed that throwing atoms at each other at Mach Jesus could potentially create a black hole. Or at least that's what the media would want you to think. Several physicists who actually worked with the Hadron Collider and actually understood that stuff better than the average person explained with a bunch of science terms that I didn't understand why that wouldn't happen. And I mean, they've been playing with this thing for about 10 years now, so I'd say we don't really have to worry about the Hadron Collider causing a black hole. But what is a cause for concern is there's a scientist in Israel who recently constructed a mini black hole. While it doesn't have the sucking power of an actual one, I still feel like this is something, we shouldn't be trying to recreate, because nothing good can come from it. It'll just, we'll all just get compressed into whatever's on the other side of a black hole, and that's not a good time. Alright, well, thanks for coming on this little dive with me. Hope you like the talk and the view, as always. Tell me why I'm wrong in the comments. Hit the button so you know when the next part will come out. I'm on the handy dandy bird app, so check that out too. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Alright, I love you, and bye-bye.